Can you hear me? Fine.
Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching around the world. My name is Kartik, and welcome to the Swami Army second test preview of the Pataudi Trophy between England and India. Now, what a first test match we saw. A very unexpected pitch in England, but as Team India fan, we're always happy to get pitches like that don't really worry us too much, and it actually seemed a bit more like a third day pitch in Mumbai. So we're always happy to get pitches like that. But nevertheless, it was a valiant draw by both teams. Probably a bit of a boring draw in the end, with no team getting a result out of the game. But that's the way it goes. We move on. That's why it's a 5-match series, and we've got plenty more cricket to come. Now, joining us today on our show, as always, now these two have probably become regular guests, so I won't even say special guests anymore. But first of all, former ABC Grandstand broadcaster Glenn Mitchell. Glenn, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure, Kartik. Nice to be back with you.
Fantastic. Always good to have you on board, Glenn. And also our other guest we have today from India is the ESPN Cricinfo correspondent, Abhishek Purohit. Abhishek, welcome to you.
Thanks, Kartik. Pleasure to be back.
Always a pleasure to have you both on. Now we'll get started straight away. Glenn, to you, your thoughts on the first test. As you saw, it was a drawn match, a flat track, a few incidents, and a lot of runs scored, and actually even Alistair Cook got a wicket as well. So a bit of everything in the first test. How did you see it all unfold?
Well, if Alistair Cook keeps getting wickets, it might be the only thing that sees him retain his place in the team. I mean, his batting once again has put himself under a fair bit of pressure, Kartik, and I think that was going to be a principal thing out of that first test match, was how he and Dhoni both handled it, and certainly Dhoni with the bat came out on top. And some of Cook's captaincy, I think, was very, very negative, in particular in regard to that 10th wicket partnership that India was able to rack up his field positions, and also the bowlers that he went to. I thought was a little bit odd at times. The pitch, I think, it was disappointing. I mean, to see the ball often bounce twice on the opening day from the quicks before getting through the wicketkeeper. I mean, you don't want test pitches like that. You want pitches that, over a period of time, over 5 days, actually give every facet of the game: fast bowling, reverse swing, spin bowling, batsmen that are good facing a different variety of bowling, all be able to come to the fore. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But yeah, it was disappointing. I mean, the match just petered really into a pretty tame draw. They didn't even lose 30 wickets over 5 days. But I think there's more positives to come out of this test match for India than there was for England. I really think England needed to make a statement, having lost the series to Sri Lanka, and they weren't able to do that. So I think India would be a little bit buoyed by the fact that they go to Lords with the series still at 0-0.
Absolutely. And Abhishek, from an Indian perspective, Glenn mentioned for England that Alistair Cook's captaincy was very negative, and obviously both captains had a lot of pressure going into the series, especially being said to be negative captain. So how do you see MS Dhoni's performance as his captaincy and, well, his batting as well?
Well, first of all, we have to laud Dhoni for batting at number 6, which is something he has never done. And I never thought Dhoni would show that kind of flexibility, because he is a man who is more or less set in his ways as captain and as player, and he doesn't really like to get out of his comfort zone. So that is a tick box for him, a rare tick box. But and the captaincy, well, I don't have to add a lot to what so many people have kept saying, but the only thing that goes in Dhoni's favor this time is that, well, he has Alistair Cook for company as well. Both struggled to get the last wicket out. But then I really don't see Dhoni changing at this stage of his career. I mean, that is what we are going to get from him. That he's the basic thing about Dhoni is he's just not comfortable with the fact that runs are scored off his bowlers. That is the way he operates. He operates by choking, and I don't think he's going to change that ever.
Okay, so you think it's very much a one-day international mentality for Dhoni, even though he's in Test matches?
Yeah, that's just the way he thinks. I mean, his first reaction at seeing a large outfield is, okay, how do I stop the runs here? And he's never going to think wickets first. That's I don't know. Maybe it's got to do with the wickets he's been brought up on. Maybe it's got to do with his batting style. But that's just the way he operates.
Do you think maybe it has something to do with the lack of an out and out wicket taking, or well, wicket taker really in the Indian team?
Yeah, it is a factor. Definitely, it is a factor that the fact that he's not really been blessed with wicket taking bowlers, and Anil Kumble was gone when he took up his captaincy, and Harbhajan Singh was at the he was not the Harbhajan Singh of the mid 2000s. So that has also shaped his captaincy. But yeah, that is one of the factors, and I won't say that is the chief factor. The chief factor is Dhoni's personality and the way he thinks about the game.
Fair enough. We'll definitely be looking forward to the next test and all the remainder of the series to see how his captaincy unfolds. Whether it changes or not, who knows? But let's wait and see. Now, moving on to the second test, Glenn, do you see any changes happening from England's perspective, or do you think that because they didn't lose a test, they should still give the guys a bit more of a run?
I think I'll probably go in with the same test. I think Liam Plunkett was at the same side. I think Liam Plunkett was a bit disappointing when he was chosen really to be a true strike bowler, bowling up around 90 miles an hour, and really he didn't hit that sort of mark. And I thought probably he was the weak link as far as the England bowling attack went. As far as the batting, I think England will go with exactly the same lineup they've had. The interesting thing will be that they're playing 5 test matches in a very abbreviated period of time. I don't think they'll be rotating fast bowlers this early in the series. I wouldn't mind betting somewhere along the line, depending on what the series scoreline is. There may actually be a desire by the England selectors and even Alastair Cook to perhaps give one of his key bowlers a rest and then bring them back maybe for the 4th and 5th test matches. So if England wins this test, it may be interesting to see what they do for the 3rd test for their lineup. But I think they'll probably go in with the same 11, even though I think Plunkett would be the one that the selectors would be most looking at if they were willing to make some sort of change in the pace department.
Interesting points there. We'll have to wait and see with what they do. Now, Abhishek, from Team India's side, again, similar because there was no test result. Do you see them changing much, and will we still see the all-rounder? Okay, I can't think of his name at the moment, but.
Well, the indications are that they are going to stick with the same 11, but if according to me, there is a strong case for Ashwin coming back into the 11. I mean, if we can drop Ashwin after just one average performance in Johannesburg, and then Jadeja made himself undroppable with that 6-wicket haul in Durban, and it's been about 3 tests after that. So. And Jadeja hasn't really, you don't get that feeling that Jadeja is going to strike anytime soon. I mean, this is a test match after all. How much of a holding role do you want from your bowler? That's the thing. For me, Ashwin comes into the 11, and as far as batting is concerned, he's street side of Jadeja. Every second ball he looked like getting out.
I'm astounded, Abhishek, that Ashwin is not playing.
Sorry, what was that, Glenn?
I'm astounded that Ashwin is not playing. I mean, if he doesn't come back in for this, I'd actually bring him in for Jadeja. I thought Binny showed a bit, but I am truly shocked that Ashwin has been discarded so quickly. If he doesn't come back and play in this next test match, then I think India's going in with an unbalanced team, really, especially when you think of the history of Indian cricket. And I'm incredibly surprised that he was on the sidelines for that opening test.
Yeah, well, I think in hindsight, he probably would have been a really good factor on that particular pitch in the first test. But he's often, I guess, Ashwin's often struggled overseas, and he's really done well in India, but not so well overseas, and that's probably what has led to him being the 12th man in most of these test matches overseas. But yeah, I guess now's probably the time to give him a go, get him. He's probably been on the sidelines for a while, and probably just waiting his chance. And who knows? Hopefully, if he does get his chance, and he can go with both hands. But Stuart Binny is the person I was thinking of before. Hasn't really set the world on fire. Probably why I couldn't recognize or remember his name.
I would give Binny another go at the least, because he was picked to perform the role that he didn't really get to perform at Trent Bridge. The conditions were never really going to suit his kind of bowling. I mean, he showed us what he's capable of in Bangladesh, but he needs those kinds of conditions, and he was selected from the thinking behind his selection was that you are more likely to get those kinds of conditions in England, the overcast, swinging conditions. So unless he has had a chance to prove himself under those conditions, I don't see him being left out. And this is really not the way this Indian team operates. I mean, look at the long rope someone like Rohit Sharma has had. Dhoni does like to give the players he believes in some chance before he leaves them out.
That's true. I mean, I'm surprised he wouldn't be going by that theory. I'm surprised he wouldn't be playing Ashwin, obviously being his Chennai Super Kings teammate. Probably why Jadeja's had a longer run than most, but we won't get into that. So you believe that there won't be much change in both lineups. How do you see the next game playing out, and who do you expect to win, Glenn, in Lords?
Well, I think it's pretty important again that whoever wins the toss bats, and I think whoever wins the toss is going to have a slight advantage at Lords. Virat Kohli certainly is the man that India pins so many hopes on nowadays. He's been one of the form batsmen. He scored runs in South Africa, but very lean, just 9 runs across 2 innings in the opening Test match. I mean, they need either he or Pujara to really make a very big innings. Pujara got a half century in the second innings, but yeah, Virat Kohli is the player that England would be targeting, and certainly the one that India need to come out and really bat with some sort of fluency. It's funny in some ways. I actually think that the reverse swing was probably India was outclassed a little bit by England in that opening Test up at Trent Bridge. They seem to actually be able to do a little bit more with the ball than what the subcontinental team was, and you normally expect them to be able to be masters of that. But I think that the big thing for India is that they've got, if they bat first, they've got to put a big total on the board. And whilst they put 457 on the board in that opening Test, I mean, at one stage they were 4 for 304. So they lost 6 wickets for 150. Now, they should have really been able to make 550, and even though it was a dead pitch, once you get to 550, the other team knows straight away when it's starting its innings that it's playing for a draw. So a lot of the motivation, a lot of the, I guess, the mindset has been taken away from the team batting second. So if India bats first, they've got to make sure they bat well from start to finish. And, if they get off to a good start, they've got to turn that start into 500 plus and put England completely on the back foot and try to destroy them and demoralise them, so they think, okay, the best we can do is go to the third Test at 0-all. So they've got to make the most of their ability with the bat.
Absolutely, and let's hope that we're not relying on number 10 and 11 to score that 151 partnership that we saw.
Don't worry about that. That's what the English do anyway.
Yeah, well, it seems to be a common occurrence for both teams, actually. So hopefully we can see more runs up top than at the bottom. Abhishek, how do you see this next Test match playing out? Who do you think will take the cake for this one?
Well, from watching India in the last Test and these last 2 tours, what they've proved is that they are a really good batting side on decent wickets overseas. Unless the ball is going to swing alarmingly or the wicket is unplayable, this team will have at least one decent batting innings per Test, one big batting innings. So I think that we can be satisfied about. What I'm worried about this Indian team is that when it comes to saving a match, they just give this top order and middle order gives the feeling that they are shaky. You saw Pujara getting out uncharacteristically in the first Test. This is not something that is Pujara. More often than not, he will either leave a short and wide ball or put it away with that powerful cut of his. So this is one thing I'm disappointed about with this Indian team. And another thing, I'm expecting Mohammad Shami to do much better than he did at Trent Bridge. He's not that kind of bowler who will give you, who will have the same consistency over 3 sessions, but he's this wicket-taking bowler. He'll have 2 or 3 inspiring spells, and those were missing at Trent Bridge. So I'm looking to see how he goes.
Fair enough. Nevertheless, either way, it's definitely going to be a crucial Test match in this series. Both teams going into the second Test at Lords at 0-all, so both teams will be looking to get that upper hand in this series. Quick series prediction update from you both. Glenn, does your prediction change? I think you said 2-1 at the start of the series. Are you still on track for that, or after this first Test match, is that going to change?
No, I'm still bullish in that regard. There's likely to be another draw. It may be forced by rain. It may be forced by the inability, perhaps, of both teams to be able to get 20 wickets as quick enough to be able to win a Test somewhere along the path. But I still think that India had the best of that opening Test match. And I think whoever wins the toss at Lords, if they make the most of it, it's going to be very, very difficult for the team batting second to actually win the match at Lords. But again, I go back to what I said before. I just think Ashwin has to be chosen in this team. Binny might hold his place, but I'd have a question mark over Jadeja. Personally, I'd have Ashwin in ahead of Jadeja.
Okay, so it's still going to be a 2-1 win to India from yourself. Abhishek, any change in your prediction from the start of the series?
I still believe England have a better home attack in home conditions, so I am sticking with 2-1 England still.
Fair enough. That's always good. And I'm still on track with my prediction. There's the first draw. We've seen that. So there's still 4 matches to go. I'm expecting India to win all 4 of them. To finish off the series 4-0. No reason to change at this stage. So we'll just see how it goes. That's all we have time for, guys. Thanks once again, Glenn and Abhishek, for joining this hangout. We always appreciate your time and efforts coming on from all around the world, wherever you are. So thank you to you both.
Pleasure. Thanks, Kartik.
Thanks, Kartik.
Thanks very much, and thanks to everyone for watching wherever you are. As I said, please make sure you check out the website. The replay of this will be up on swamiarmy.com very shortly, as well as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. All the social media you can think of, all the links and everything will be up very, very shortly. So please stay tuned, and make sure you tune into the second Test match starting on Thursday from Lords, England versus India. India hoping to go up actually both teams hoping to go 1-0 up, but we would like to see India go 1-0 up in the series. Until we meet again, we'll be back after the Test match to review and preview the next one, and enjoy the Test match, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.